Welcome to Talk to Me Tuesday. I'm Tajah, the Mindset Coach. Tonight, we're talking about taking chances. I have a few lovely ladies to talk to us. We're going to kick it off with Sheryl.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sheryl. I've been investing for about 2 or 3 years, and I'm super excited to be here tonight.
Thanks, Sheryl. Hey, Nina.
Hey, I'm Nina. I've been investing on and off for about 10 years. Just recently got into options, so kind of excited about that. But that's about it.
Okay, Jennifer.
Hi, my name is Jennifer. I have been investing for about a year. I'm a newbie, so I'm just glad to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Of course. Thank you, ladies, for joining tonight. So, ladies, let's talk about taking chances. So I want you guys to tell me one thing you've taken a chance on. It could be this year or in these recent few years, and tell me where that thing is now. Like, did you like it? I do it all the time. Or is it like, been there, good on that?
Just in this past year, actually in the past few months, one of the things I've taken a chance on is options.
Okay.
So I have been doing stocks for a little while, and really kind of, like trading stocks. But I knew that and had heard that there might be a little bit more money or quicker money with options. And so after taking an options class, stock and options class, I got a little bit more into options. So I'm really enjoying that. It's going well. Making some money. Yeah, I love it. So,
that's always a good thing. Okay. And that's fair enough, right? We always like taking chances, especially when they end up in profitable chances. So those are great. Who else has something for me? What else? What other kind of chances have you guys taken? Or if they're the same?
My chance is similar to Sheryl, where I last year actually started dabbling in stocks. The only difference with me is that I'm very anxious when it comes to money. So I just bought the stocks, let it sit there, check it maybe 3-4 months. And then I keep hearing people talking about going up and going down. And so I'm more of a person, I'm the type of person that doesn't like to take chances too much because of the fact that I don't know how things are going to go. And I think that's how most people are. Well, at least for me, I'll say for me. And so it's worked out in the sense that when I look at my portfolio, I am gaining. So that's a good part. But I keep hearing people talking about red, and that makes me nervous. So I don't want to look at it.
No, you gotta check that out. Look, means sale. SALE, people. Yes. Remember, clearance is what we shop for. So you got to.
That's what I'm learning. That's what I'm learning. Everybody talks about red and oh my gosh, it's going down. You should sell. But now I'm learning that you should buy if it's going down.
Yeah, it's on sale. And see, and that's another thing, right? Because this whole taking chances about changing that mindset. So when you hear red, we want you to feel like, oh, that's blood in the water, like a shark. Like, go get that, right? Something is on sale. Let's go buy it.
Right.
Not like sell your stuff. That's what the newbies do. Right.
Well, that was me because I was a newbie, so now I'm learning.
That's right. That's in the learning phase. I got you. So what about you, Nina?
So I think for me, this whole investing thing is interesting in that, like, my personality, I'm not necessarily risk averse. However, I grew up poor, so money. I got a funny relationship with money,
Right.
And when I have it, I like to hold on to it.
Yeah.
So getting heavily into investing and doing options and all of that for me, it's kind of interesting and scary. But it's good because like I said, I like to hold on to my money.
Right.
So like my savings looks really, really good. However, it could look better.
Yeah.
But I gotta get out of that whole mindset of holding on to that money because you can't make money without money.
That's a great point.
Closed hand or closed fist.
Exactly. And you got to take those chances on trying. That's the whole point, right? Taking the chances, because I always like to give the analogy as saving money versus investing money, right? Because some people still struggle with the difference. So let's give a little analogy really quick. So you know how you go to a restaurant, right? You go out to eat, and then you can't eat everything because you done got appetizers, desserts, so now you got your leftover box, right? Great. So you put it in the refrigerator, and that's what you saved. But when you wake up to take your food to work, or you just want it for a snack, you don't expect to have more than you had in that box originally, right? You're gonna have what you saved. That's it. But that's different, really, really different when you're talking about investing the money, right? And you can't invest in the food that you bought home, but now you get what I'm saying. You're gonna have more. Everybody wants to wake up to more. Like, you would love if you opened that box and it was the whole meal again, right? From start to finish. So that's the goal with investing. So we do, as a culture, especially because most of us, me included, right? You were poor, or I would say in mine, thought, right, I didn't know we were poor. We were good, in my opinion, right? But you get older and you realize, oh, we was always at Marshall's and Burlington Coat Factory. My mom was on the sale racks, right? But look, I had everything. So we have to come up out of that and learn that we have to invest our money, that we have to use money as a tool. We were told to hold money with closed fists, right? That everything was so tight, and oh, don't you even dare to look at that. That's way too expensive. But nothing is too expensive. Nothing is without effort of trying, because you can have anything. And that's the point of taking chances, because what if you really do get everything you dreamed of? What if you do become who you see in your dreams? What if, right? Because they used to say how we couldn't read, or we weren't this or weren't that, and look at all of us now in our different fields and our different backgrounds, right? So that comes with trying, taking chances, and you have to, otherwise we as a people won't get anywhere, right? You can't get anywhere if no one takes a chance, because we have to have, I think Nina, you said it to me one time, and it was like one of those all moments in the message when you said, because you saw us, right, me and Trish, that it made you see what was possible. We have to have representation. And that starts by somebody taking a chance. We don't know if this is going to work, but we got to do it. So apart from money, tell me something else that one of you have taken a chance on like that. Maybe no one in your family has done, or what, it could be anything. Maybe it was a vacation you went on that you couldn't believe you finally went there. What was that thing like?
You know, I guess I'll start again. For me, I think I've always been a risk taker.
Okay.
So anything that I've wanted to do, I think I've done. I think the only thing that maybe I've wanted to do that I have not done is to leave my 9 to 5.
Okay.
That would be probably, you know, something that I'm like, okay, you know, being under someone else's, you know, thumb all day, having to ask permission to take off, to go to a doctor's appointment. That's something that I really don't enjoy. So I'm trying to get to the point where I can take that risk, but that's a pretty big one, right?
Yeah.
But otherwise, I'm going to have to think a second on maybe some of the other risks.
Look, the way you playing options, you probably real close. No.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. Yeah.
Anybody else? Like, I know it got to be a good vacation, or I mean, it could be anything.
I'll say for me. So I've been in New Jersey for 11 years. And so prior to that, I told Nina I used to live in Georgia. I obviously grew up in New York. And so for me, my biggest, I guess, risk that I took was purchasing a house, because most of the people I knew, girlfriends and friends, they either purchased a house with their significant other, a husband, or were roommates. And for me, I was doing it by myself. So of course, I'm like, oh my gosh, can I do it? And, you know, by nature, I'm a finance person. So I'm thinking, do I have enough money for my bills? Do I have enough money for the mortgage, for, you know, the water, the sewer? So it was really nerve wracking to me. And so, you know, I always get in this thing with having this big fear, but everything that I do that I'm afraid of, I always conquer it.
There you go.
I had a conversation with my dad, and he's like, listen, you're never going to know what will be unless you actually go and do it. So once he told me that, I'm like, all right, fine. I did it. And again, like I said, I've been here for 11 years. So it's really something in me. The fear is in me, and I'm only stopping myself. And that's what I'm learning.
Exactly. It's all mindset. That's all it is, because, and we all have it. Don't think because, you know, you see me or Sheryl or Nina or any of your other friends, family taking chances that they're not nervous. Yeah, they are. But that isn't bigger than what we want to accomplish. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I'm going for it because you know what, like they say, if you reach for the moon, you'll still land among the stars, right? That's where I'm going because I know something great is going to happen, but nothing great happens when you stand still and you let fear consume you. So that's such a great thing that your dad said, and I love that. When we realize that it's in us, you just got to fight through that. You just got to fight through it and say, yes, I can. Yes, I can. I know you were going to say something, Nina. What were you going to say?
Yeah. And Sheryl, you kind of made me think of that too. I bought a house, as a single woman when I was, I think I was 31 when I bought my house. And I wasn't afraid in that, like, I knew I had the money and my stuff was in order, in that regard. But it was just like, at that point, and I'm gonna be perfectly honest, I had lived at home with my mama. My mom and my grandmother, so, but the blessing in that though, in being able to live with 3 generations of women was, they were the ones who kind of pushed me, to do things that I maybe kind of felt fear about or whatever, especially with the, buying the house and stuff. And my mom was like, you ready, and my grandmother, I was telling my husband the other day, my grandmother would always be on us about saving money, right? Mm-hmm. So I would come home from work and, have on a new dress, and she would sit in the window. She was 106 years old when she passed. So at this point, she was in her 90s, and she had this window, this room that she would sit in all the time, and she would look at out the window. So she was that neighbor who everybody would be like, oh, Miss Nina, she know what happened. Call Miss Nina. She was in the window. She saw it, But she would see me come home from work, and like if I had on a new dress, and I would come home from work, I would go upstairs, say hi, and I'd be like, "Ooh, I got on a new dress." Grandma gonna be like, "You've been shopping again." But one day she told me, she says, "Oh, that's a nice dress, baby. That's new." I said, "Yes, Grandma, it's new." She said, "Well, you got to look the part." So but she would always, she would balance it. Like I said, she would be honest about saving our money and all of that, but she would always, urge us to do things that we wanted to do. Right. And of course, look good when you're doing it. And and all that stuff. So I was blessed to be able to have that time from when I went to college and came home and then went out on my own. I was blessed to have several years in the house with 3 generations of women. So, and
that's a beautiful thing. It makes me think of when I had my daughter. My mom I had moved her in with us, and we were in New Jersey. I told you, Jennifer, that's where we're from. And that's funny because I love those moments before we moved to Atlanta. Like my mom, me, and my daughter. It was something that everyone can't experience. So it is a beautiful thing to have that. So you brought me to my next point then. So speaking of, grandmas and generations before us, right? Because they had a very different relationship with money, a very different relationship with taking chances. Forget money, just taking chances and believing in themselves, right? Because of all that they went through and overcame. So let's talk about, why do you think as a culture, not even just women primarily, but we can talk about us as Black women, but I mean us as a Black people, right? Why do we struggle, or we're so hesitant to take chances? Right. Why do you think that we struggle with that? Like we have so many things where we say, oh, I'm never doing that. But how you know? Oh, I don't like that. You never tried it, right? I'll tell you something I said to my cousin who always pushes all my limits. I love him to death. If you're listening, hey Travis, look. So one day he was asking me about avocado, and all my friends who know me know I don't eat avocado, okay? Not even trying it. And he was like, why, Taj? And I was like, I don't eat things that are green. And he was like, what? That is such a lie. And I was like, no, I don't. Name one. He's like, grapes, apples. I mean, kept on those, and I'm just cracking up at myself like, oh, you're right. I'm still not eating avocado, but I got to figure out another thing to say now. But, you know, as funny as it is, right? Why do we have that? I mean, that's a lighter one, but why do we have reservations to try things, you know?
Yeah, I think it's you know, it's a really interesting question. So, but I think it has to do with sometimes we're just in a comfort zone, and trying something new again brings up anxiety and fears and worries, like, you know, well, what if I don't like it? Well, what if this happens, right? And so I think based on our culture and history, you know, we've kind of been, for lack of a better word, trained to kind of stay in our lane. And
There you go.
you know, in our past, you know, a couple of 100 years ago, getting out of your lane and trying things could be very dangerous for your life,
Yes.
right?
Right.
So
Right.
I think some of those generational things can be passed down, but I also think it's a lack of education, right?
Okay.
So about, had I known now, you know, had I known back then what I know now regarding investing and stocks and options, you know, I wouldn't have to have a 9 to 5, right?
Right.
But the fact that, you know, so much knowledge, I don't know if I want to say it's kept from us, but I think it kind of is maybe kept from us, or we don't know that we should be seeking it.
Right. I think it has more to do with experience, not so much of education, right? Because the things you're talking about specifically, right? You all started talking about investing. That's not necessarily anything you learned in your background, right? It being a doctor or physician. So, and definitely not me. And I'm taking, you know, getting my PhD now in executive leadership. We don't touch on any of those topics. So it's not that, but see, experience with the right kind of people, right? The right exposure to the right kinds of relationships will do that for you. So, and I totally agree. I think it's the exposure, it's the experience, it's those things. And I think you are right on the head when you say the generational part, because it's not even just us ourselves. Sometimes when you tell your family or your friends, right, the things you want to achieve and accomplish, they have reservations for you. And so now you're not even just battling yourself, you're battling what they think, right? And then it becomes, man, if I don't get this, they're all gonna be right, or they're all gonna point and say you shouldn't have wasted time, right? And you know, I had to even come up with that myself for trying this year, risking it and banking all on myself. And I had to come up with the thought was, you know what's the worst that can happen if I leave this job? What's the worst that can happen? Nothing. You go back to work. That's it, right? As long as I'm educated, right? I can exactly. You can do your role. There's always somebody hiring, right? And if you can't get in at your salary cap, then maybe you got to get 2 or 3 jobs till you get that role. But you can always go back to work. So that's my key or motivational piece for anybody listening, because whatever you are doing that you're miserable at, that you have anxiety about right now, because I know I had anxiety when I didn't even think anxiety was real at my job, living paycheck to paycheck, right? And I have so much more freedom now and no kind of consistent paycheck, but yet I don't worry nearly as much or at all like I used to when I was doing 40 hours, right? So that's why I say that fear, that thing is really in your head. You got to just take a chance on yourself. But it is a real thing that we do experience as a culture, I believe, significantly compared to other cultures, our reservations, right? Our fear of taking chances.
Right. But I think, and I want to touch on something that Sheryl touched on, was it's about, so think about it like this. If you tell a child, if you're constantly telling a child that they're stupid and they're not going to be anything, guess what? They're probably not, right? Yeah. So we're working through years and years and centuries and generations of being told that we are a particular thing. Okay. That we are and that we are not worthy of certain things. Right. Right. So we are at a point in our generation to where we're realizing that that's not so,
Correct.
So my husband and I, we have a 21-year-old.
Okay.
And he's in college and he's doing really well in school, and but he has anxiety in regards to just kind of putting himself out there and trying things, right? So we spend a lot of time just like gassing him up, just like, I remember when he was in school, when he was in grade school, when he would leave for school, and he laughs about this now because I kind of tease him when he's leaving for his college classes now. I would say, all right, be a star student, and he just gets tickles and rolls his eyes now about it. But I think our task in this generation is to let the generation behind us see us be successful, right? And make sure that we are showing them the way to be successful. Now, and on one of Sheryl's points was that we're not exposed to certain things, and we aren't. And part of that is because we work in silos. We as people in general, not just Black people, but Asian people hang out with Asian people, Black people hang out with Black people, white people hang out with white people,
right?
Everybody stays in their group, right? One thing that I found, we tend to say that, people don't want us to have certain information, right? And I found that, as my friend group is pretty diverse, and you sit around and you talk about whatever, investing or whatever, like Sheryl was saying, she was in classes with these guys and they're talking about investing. They're not hiding that conversation. They don't know you don't know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they're more than willing, if you ask them questions, 9 times out of 10, they're more than willing to give you the information.
That's true.
We've just not been in those scenarios where we even hear those conversations.
Exactly.
That's
right.
True.
So
Yeah.
part of the challenge is to diversify your friend group.
Exactly.
Right?
Exposure.
100% correct.
That's exposure. That's getting out of your comfort zone, right? That goes right back to taking chances. Stop staying in your comfortable zone with your same friends. Sometimes people joke, because I always say, how we say in our culture, like your day ones, right? And I say, well, sometimes your day ones are keeping you from day two because you're not moving. And I'm not saying don't love them, right? Don't go back to the reunions and all those things. But you gotta keep moving forward. And if they don't want to come, that's fine. Then, you can reach back. Yeah. But those are the things you have to be mindful of. So I think that's so important. That's all about exposure. You're absolutely right.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
Go ahead, Jennifer.
Go ahead, Jennifer.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, for me, just thinking back on my parents and how they, the careers that they've had. My mother was a nurse for many years. My dad, he worked in finance also. And they only had that one job. They never changed jobs. They both retired from that one job. And so, I've had instances where I've gone from one job to the next to advance my career or to get more money or whatever the case may be. And so this last switch that I, wanted to do, my mom was like, are you sure you want to do that? What if you don't get the job? What if it's more work?
Right.
And these are things I think, Tajah was saying that people may hold you back in terms of your mindset. And so, of course, I know my mother loves me. She wants the best for me and my brothers. But then at the same time, she has that fear for all of us. And I think that also holds us back because our parents had a different experience growing up, with their family and their careers and things of that nature. So I'm glad I took the jump, because if I did not, I wouldn't be in the position I am in now. So, which allows me to be able to afford the things that I have now. I mean, who knows where I would have been if I listened to my mom. Of course, you're supposed to listen to your parents, but sometimes you have to take that chance. Like Sajah was saying. And I did it, and I'm doing well as a result of that. And of course, like I said, they mean well, but at the same time, you have to do what's best for yourself at the end of the day.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
And we have to appreciate, like you both said, right, the generations that came before us and things they went through. So they're very scared, and for every parent, right? And I have a 9-year-old and a little one that just turned 6 yesterday. The one thing you fear most is them failing, right? You want them to be successful. You want them to always be happy. But we have to remember that failure is a part of the process, right? So you want them to fail often, because often means they're trying, they're taking chances. There's nothing cool about staying right here. And whether you're making money, whether you're happy or anything, we'll try something new. Maybe you'll be happier. Maybe you'll make more money, right? Or whatever that thing is. So it's all about taking chances. It's all about taking risks and exposing yourself to new things. So for me, new foods, right? How we started this off, right?
Yeah.
Listen.
Avocado, that's my favorite.
Listen, friends, it's not happening.
She's like, it's
just not happening. But it's okay. I appreciate the effort. Look, as I say, take chances. This not about me. This about you. No, I'm just kidding.
You have to change your mindset, Taj. Change your mindset.
Try new things. You might
Isn't that
like
what you
it.
tell us?
You know what? Funny thing is, I did try it. I won't say I didn't like it. It just did nothing for me, because it is one of those things that doesn't have a real taste, right? It just kind of is there. So you know what? This is did it. I'm good on that. Okay.
Right.
But I tried
Did you
it.
have guacamole?
Ooh.
It was. So that's with the little, like, kind of like a salsa mix, right? The stuff inside. No, don't want it.
She's like, no, I'm not doing it. Okay.
We tried.
But I tried. So that's the point, guys, right? It's always good to have fun, because taking chances is very nerve-wracking for a lot of people. It stresses them out. Like I said, it's our culture, and like you said, it has a lot of weight on it because of all the layers, all the things we've been through. But I want to say too, where my experience was a little different is because my mom was such a force in my life, throughout now, and especially as a child. Though there wasn't anything that I could not do. There wasn't anything that I wasn't capable of. She made sure she always pushed that in me. And so that's what I'll say for anyone who's listening. Just make sure that if you don't have that parenting, if you don't have that friend, then you become that for yourself, right? You have to talk into yourself, positivity, love, know that you can accomplish everything and anything you see in your dreams. That's where it starts. Those are proof that you can do it, right? So you have to take chances on yourself, because I will say this, us as Black women, no one's going to just give you that chance. You got to take what's yours and you'll have it. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.